Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We from group 2, we want presentation about Middle English from 1060 to 1500. And my name Hamdi Ria Firstiawan. And then Afrilia Kartika, and then Maylani Swartiningsih and Intan Prihatina. The Middle English literature, the English that was used from 1100 to 1500, is called Middle English. This Middle English literature corresponded to the medieval period. The Norman conquest of England in 1060 traditionally signifies the beginning of 200 years of the domination of French in English literature. Jadi di tahun 1066 itu masih didominasi oleh bahasa yang tradisional, bahasa Inggris yang tradisionalnya dulu banget. Dan setelah 200 tahun kemudian didominasi oleh bahasa Prancis. All English literary contains itu political and ecclesiastical documents. Middle English literature. Middle English is a term used to describe the language that's come into being in the century or so after the Norman conquest and lasted until about 1500. During those years, the inflectional system of Old English was weakened and large number of words were introduced from French. The Norman conquest of England in 1060 traditionally signifies the beginning of 200 years of the domination of French in English literature. Jadi selama 200 tahun itu literasi Inggris itu berbahasa Prancis kebanyakan. And then Francis cultural domination moreover was general in Europe at this time. French language and culture replaced English in polite court society and had lasting effect on English culture. Jadi bahasa Prancis itu sangat mempengaruhi kultur di Inggris dan polite court society. After the Norman conquest of England, Low French became the standard language of courts, parliament and society. The Norman dialect of the ruling class mixed with the Anglo-Saxon of the people and become Anglo-Norman and Anglo-Saxon, underwent a gradual transition into Middle English.
Okay, I will continue. The next material is about ages. Ages contains 4 periods in the Middle English that contains characteristics in every period. The first is early period. Poetry is the principal form of literary expression. Several forms in early Middle English are extant and written in Old English. Is interested on linguistic and prosodic purpose rather than literary. The 13th century continue in the tradition of Anglo-Saxon prose directed toward ordinary people rather than polite society. The Romance, an important constitutional narrative form, was introduced in England. 13th century works retain elements of the Anglo-Saxon heroic tradition. The 14th century. The latter portion of the 14th century also saw not only the consolidation of English as written language and a shift to secular writing. William Shakespeare printed 4/5 of his work in English, which helped to standardize the language and expand the vocabulary. The 15th century. Literary work is mostly satiric and combines medieval and Renaissance elements. Morality play probably arose in part from the desire of religious writers to teach the principle of Christian, the medieval drama, liturgical plays, mystery plays. Okay, I will continue. The next material is about characteristic in the Middle English. Middle English requires the constant help of glossary. The literary workings are in Old English. Medieval works of literature often center on the inevitability, sadness, change, loss, and death, and the variety of human grandeur. The greatest poet of that time was Geoffrey Chaucer. Chaucer's The General Prologue to the Canterbury Tales has long been recognized as one of the greatest masterpieces of English literature. Okay, the next Geoffrey Chaucer's 1400 until 1343. Geoffrey Chaucer, known as the father of English literature, is widely considered the greatest English poet of the Middle Age and was the first poet buried in Put Corner of Westminster Abbey. The next is Chaucer's literary work. Parliament of Follows, Troilus and Thisbe, The Legend of Good Woman, The Canterbury Tales. The next characteristic in the writings. Growing audience, a panorama of mysterious, often melancholic, diverse folk of many social classes, castle, monochrome grey, loyalty to the Lord, barnyard, town, the appearance of lizard desperate courage in defeat. Major theme, agony of the lordless man, could continued but become chivalric. Social alienation, noble and heroic deeds. Agony of alienation, physical hardship for audience, almost exclusively male, lords and the servant lady.
The Canterbury Tales began in 1386, consists of stories told by some of the 30 pilgrims who set off from the Tabard in Southwark, London, to visit the shrine of Thomas a Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury, murdered is in his own cathedral in 1170. Chaucer joined the group and described almost all the pilgrims in this company. each of whom participate a different trait, often dishonestly. Jadi The Canterbury Tales itu adalah sebuah koleksi cerita yang ditulis oleh Geoffrey Chaucer pada abad ke-14 dalam bentuk prosa atau gancaran dan yang lainnya dalam bentuk puisi atau syair. Cerita-cerita ini yang beberapa di antaranya adalah cerita asli dan yang lain itu tidak. Terkadang dalam sebuah cerita bingkai dan diceritakan oleh para peziarah yang berada dalam perjalanan dari Southwark ke Canterbury untuk mengunjungi monumen Santo Thomas Becket di dekat Katedral Canterbury. The next is Order of the Canterbury Tales. Nobody knows exactly in what order Chaucer intended to present the tales of, even if he had a specific order in mind for all of them. 82 early manuscripts of the tales survive, and many of them vary considerably in the order in which they present the tales. The Canterbury Tales is a collection of stories, mostly in verse, written by Geoffrey Chaucer, chiefly from 1387 to 1400. They are held together in a frame story of a pilgrimage on which each member of the group is to tell two tales on the way to Canterbury, and two on the way back. Fewer than a quarter of the projected tales were complete before Chaucer's death. It is uncertain in what order Chaucer intended the tales to appear. Moreover, it is very possible that, as a work in progress, no final authorial order of tales ever existed. The next is language in the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales is written in Middle English, which bears a close visual resemblance to the English written and spoken today. In contrast, Old English, or the language of Beowulf, for example, can be read only in modern translation or by students of Old English. Students often read the Canterbury Tales in its original language, not only because of the similarity between Chaucer's Middle English and our own, but because the beauty and humor of the poetry. All of these internal and external rhymes, and the sound it produces would be lost in translation. The best way for a beginner to approach Middle English is to read it out loud. When the words are pronounced, it is often much easier to recognize what they mean in modern English. Most Middle English editions of the poem include a short pronunciation guide, which can help the reader to understand the language better for particularly difficult words or phrases. Most editions also include notes in the margin giving the modern versions of the word, along with a full glossary in the back. Several online Chaucer glossaries exist, and as well as a number of printed lexicons of Middle English. And the last is Chaucer's characters. It express different, sometimes vastly different views of reality, creating an atmosphere of realism. Jadi karakter Chaucer itu masing-masing mengekspresikan pandangan yang berbeda, terkadang sangat berbeda tentang realitas dan menciptakan suasana relativisme seperti itu.
Well, I will continue the explanation. Other literary work. Example, The Legend of Ancient Greece and Rome, The British Legend of King Arthur, The Knight of the Round Table. It kinds of poetry and prose in the Middle English literature. Okay, first, poetry. Medieval poetry consists mainly of metrical romance or romantic tales written in poetic form about French heroes, Celtic heroes, and British heroes. Metrical romance is a long narrative poem about love and adventure. Now we are going to know the popular writer of poetry in the Middle English literature. Geoffrey Chaucer. He is known as the father of English poetry. He made easier to read the language of English literature. The language had changed into greater extent in the 700 years since the time of Beowulf, and it is much easier to read the writing of the Chaucer than to read anything written in Old English. He made easy to read literature to the common people. He also represented the contemporary society in the form of literature. Okay, now this is the example of using English in the Middle English and the Modern English. This text taken from the Canterbury Tales, and we can see here in the Middle English the grammatical rules haven't been laid out perfectly or correctly, and then the pronunciation is different as now. But we can translate in a modern English. Take a look of the modern English. A knight there was, and that a worthy man, that from them that the first began to write out, he loved chivalry, truth and honor, freedom and courtesy. Jadi di sini Middle English tadi kita translate ke dalam Modern English, but it still follow the grammatical from Middle English. Jadi meskipun udah kita translate ke Modern English, tapi ini belum sesuai dengan grammatical yang sekarang. Dalam bahasa Indonesianya bisa kita artikan sebagai ada seorang kesatria, seorang yang berharga yang di antara mereka yang pertama mulai berkelana. Ia mencintai kekesatriaan, kebenaran, kehormatan, kebebasan, dan kesopanan. Jadi itu adalah bentuk karya sastra pada pertengahan akhir atau Middle English Literature yang bisa menjadi ilustrasi akan evolusi dari bahasa Inggris secara umum. Next, prose. John Wycliffe is a professor at the University of Oxford and a chart leader. He was the first to criticize the authority of the Roman chart. Jadi, karya-karya sastra pada zaman itu masih sama bertemakan keagamaan yang diusung oleh para rohaniawan seperti John Wycliffe. but there is a person that made a different themes, yaitu karya from Layamon yang mengusung sejarah-sejarah akan the legendary of English or British, like the prose with the title of The British Legend of King Arthur. Dan lahir juga balad, yaitu yang merupakan sajak-sajak yang tersebar melalui mulut ke mulut. Biasanya sajak-sajak ini tidak bertuan, contohnya seperti Robin Hood. And there is also the romantic story or the more romantic prose, yaitu Legend of British King Arthur, yang menjadi kisah romans paling terkenal sepanjang sejarah karena it use the easy word, so bisa dipahami anak-anak kecil dan kalangan banyak. And next, Dream. Dream originally grew up in the church as a medium for scholars to explain their sermons. Because the dream used Latin, so it was changed to English. His show grew and took place outside the church ground and on the street. The plays are taken from the Holy Book. For example, at Christmas, the play of Christ's birth is shown. In medieval time, there were two kinds of drama, yaitu miracles, who describe the life of saints, and mysteries, which took themes from the Bible. Jadi drama itu merupakan karya terbaru pada zaman itu yang dulunya hanya dikenal oleh para rohaniawan yang ada di gereja dan kemudian melebar luas ke masyarakat. And there are two kinds of dream, yaitu miracles and mysteries. Di mana miracles yang melakonkan kehidupan orang-orang suci, sedangkan mysteries itu mengambil tema dari kitab Injil. Well, guys, I think that's all my explanation. Thank you for your attention. I hope it will be easy to you to understand. Thank you.